Alright, so my most recent project was a batch of cutting boards here, and I was using my homemade router table, which is essentially nothing more than a piece of plywood with a router attached to the bottom. And things just weren't turning out the way that I needed them to. The bead that I was laying across the corner here was very inconsistent, deep in some parts, shallow in others, and it just wasn't what I needed. And I knew that when I progressed to some of the larger cutting boards in this batch, that issue was just going to be exaggerated. So something needed to change. And I could build a new router table that was much more complex than the one that I have, but I figured I'd just opt for what would solve my problem now. In the future, I very well might do that, but for now, the solution is this bad boy. This is the RA1171 Bosch Router Table. I got mine from Lowe's. I'm sure you can pick them up from a few different places, but I'm going to take you through the unboxing and assembly. We'll begin by simply opening the box here, and we will see what is inside. Here we've got, looks like a lot of nut and bolts, cords and accessories are in this front box here. We've got a couple feather boards, looks like a dust extraction box, another accessory, plates, and looks like our aluminum fence is in here too. This looks like it's a custom piece of extrusion with a piece of MDF attached to the front. It actually, you know, I'm surprised. It looks quite nice and it's got some heft to it. I was really worried about the amount of MDF in this router table, but it looks like it's good build quality. One thing that I noticed right off the bat here is that these two boards don't quite meet in the middle, and that may or may not be an issue. It's probably going to come down to simple adjustment in the future. Let's see. We've got some more MDF. It's actually really good packaging. Custom cut cardboard and everything. We've got the instruction manual, which may or may not be read. A whole lot more MDF. Looks like a door here. Backing. We've got more. This is very compact packaging. Well done. More MDF. There's a lot of MDF in this router table, and like I said, that kind of worries me because MDF is not the most, it's not a material that is known for its longevity, I'll say. It looks like our final piece here is the router table itself with router table plate wow, installed actually. It's going to need some adjustment, but it is installed straight from the manufacturer. That's interesting. And that's everything that comes in the box. And that is the Bosch RA1171 router table, fully assembled. And so far, I have to say, I like it. Through assembly, I did notice a few pros and a few cons. For starters, as I had mentioned before, there's a lot of MDF in this thing, and that makes me worry because MDF is far from future-proof. It has a tendency to sag, it has a tendency to chip and break, and these are the things that I was encountering with my homemade router table, of it becoming unlevel and sagging, and I really hope that I don't encounter that in the future with this, being that this is the solution to that problem, or it's supposed to be. Another con on this router table is the use of proprietary parts, or so it seems, unnecessarily. On this fence here, there are some bushings on the feather boards you can see right here. These seem to be proprietary, or at least not normal bushing spacers that they've decided to use instead of making this T-slot flush with their MDF backboard, which seems strange to me because a little bit more thought and critical thinking in the engineering process should be able to give you a mounting surface that doesn't require a proprietary bushing, or at the very least use some type of universal standard part. I see myself in the future breaking or losing one of these and then becoming extremely frustrated when I need to use this feather board. I can't finish the project without it, but I don't have one of these special Bosch bushings that I need to make them work. In general, I don't like proprietary parts being used, especially on things that you're going to be using a lot in your shop, and generally a router table is one of those tools. Another proprietary part is on the other T-slot associated again with the feather board. There is a little plastic spacer piece that they have in order to bring it flush with the table from this bottom T-slot. And again, I feel like a little bit more thought in the design process could eliminate those proprietary parts, which, like I said, in the future, I think it's going to drive me crazy. Now, moving on from the cons, there are a lot of things that I like about it. Even though it is MDF, it does seem quite sturdy. It's hard, it's flat, it's heavy. Heavy is almost always a good thing. And I really think that it's going to serve its purpose. I see it staying flat. It's got this nice metal insert plate that is obviously going to stand up. And the MDF, it's a compact form factor enough that I don't see sagging being an issue in the future. In addition, this fence, with the exception of these proprietary bushings that they have for the feather boards, I really like. It seems like it's well made, it's structurally stable, it's got a lot of knobs and adjustments and places to add on other parts such as the feather boards. The T-slots seem like they slide really good, and it's well made. I really actually like this fence a lot. It's able to move up and down quite easily. Not demonstrating that very well here, but there's just a few knobs in the back. You loosen them up and you move along these rails. Now, one thing that I was worried about was how difficult is it going to be to take this fence off, because there's some projects you need it, other projects you don't, and if I've got to wrestle around with this for 15 minutes just to take the fence off, I'm probably just not going to use it, and that's a problem. But luckily, it does come off quite easy. You just bring it all the way to the back. There's a hole that's the size of your bolt heads that go through, and it just pops straight up through those holes. And to bring it back down, drop the bolt heads in those holes, slide it over into its rail, and you've got movement up and down once again, like so. You tighten down your knobs when you get to where you want, and you're good to go. It's really easy to adjust, really easy to align with your bearing surface on your router bit, and overall I really do like the fence. I'm quite impressed. One of the great things about this is if you have a compatible Bosch router, there is a easy, simple adjustment from the top of the router table for height of your router bit. That is amazing. For somebody that has not had over-the-table adjustment on their router table ever, this is going to save me a lot of time, and I'm looking forward to using it. And that's pretty much it. As of now, I'm happy. It's a good purchase.